Beckett wants to change their grading scale, but after an avalanche of negative customer feedback, they're now not quite sure how to do it. The good news for them, of course, we've got all the answers, or at least we think we do. We're going to debate them now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Wow, guys, we got big topics today. We have breaking Fanatics news about Topps bringing back basketball, but we first have to start with our conversation about Beckett because we are back fresh from the Mint Collective show in Vegas where all of this went down. Teapot, welcome back, sir.
Thanks. Shout out to my wife for this awesome shirt. She does dress me.
Indeed she does. It is Georgia Peaches, so you know it fits in with the local theme.
Is
there.
it peaches? I thought it was oranges, but I guess you might be right.
We'll let the viewers decide in the comments. I don't know which one. Doug, you were literally just back from the Mint Collective. You stayed out there a couple of extra days in Vegas. You win some money?
Regrettably, I stayed a couple extra days. A day in Vegas is basically like a week in normal days. So, yeah, it feels like I've been there a month. I did win some money, though, so
that's good.
It all worked out.
Hey, anytime you go to Vegas and win some money, that is a good trip. Let's jump into this first topic, guys. While we were in Mint Collective, so much craziness went on. It was leaked out on Friday that the Beckett booth at the show was showing that any Beckett with quad 9.5s was going to be regraded as a 10. Then the next day, Beckett said, no, that's not true. And then they unveiled it, and it actually had to be a 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 10. That was going to get regraded as a 10. They also said that if somebody had just a regular 9.5, it was no longer going to be named Gem Mint. It was now just going to be named Mint Plus. All of these changes were met with an avalanche of negative feedback on social media. And the following day, once again at the conference, Beckett walked the whole thing back and said, you know what? We're pausing and we're going back to the drawing board. My question to each of you, though, is now that Beckett's reconsidering, what should they actually do? Doug, give us your answer first.
My initial thought when this all started to unfold while we were there at the Mint is it felt a little bit like Groundhog's Day to me. This was very reminiscent of the National when it looked like they were going to unveil a new label for their slabs. And then, you know, same scenario, a lot of internet chatter, and they were like, no, of course not. It's not a new slab. It's just a cool design we thought would be cool for the National. This has the exact same vibe to it. Word starts to get out. People on the internet start to have their opinion. And I could not believe how quickly they decided to, on the fly, make changes to what they were originally going to do and then cancel what they were originally going to do. That seems like a very knee-jerk reaction based on what inevitably is going to be negative feedback. People on the internet are probably, if they're going to be vocal, they're probably going to be negatively vocal. That's just how this thing goes, honestly. And also, I think they missed a really good opportunity to drop an April Fool's on us because this all happened on April Fool's Day. And I really feel like a missed opportunity there just to, you know, maybe have a little bit of fun with it instead of just being everybody's punching bag right now. But as far as what they should do, you know, listen, you can't make everybody happy. There are definitely changes that need to be made, and I could sit here and tell you a laundry list of things I would like to see Beckett do, but then somebody watching this is going to completely disagree with all of them. There's no way that you can make everybody happy, but you have to be a little bit more decisive. You know, this continuous teasing us with changes and then walking them back as soon as someone doesn't like it, it's not going to work out.
Would you regrade 9.5s to 10s?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
So do you think they should drop their 9.5 altogether from their grading scale?
I don't necessarily think so. I think that there is room for 9.5 in the scale and 10 to be a little bit harder to achieve, but there's got to be a balance there. Right now, the delta between their 9.5 and 10 makes it to where 9.5s, which are supposed to be like a PSA 10, we see that huge gap in value. There's got to be something to close that gap, and I think it needs to be that 10s are slightly more attainable.
Do you think that the quad, the 4.95s,
I sort of like the 3.95s with 110.
Okay, so you actually like the changes as they rolled them out. You actually thought they made the right decision. You just wish they hadn't rolled them back.
Sure, yeah.
Do you agree?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I think that I want to give them credit for rolling it back. And this is going to be tough to recover from. It feels like a plane going down that you're pulling up on, trying to get lifted. Somebody used that analogy at the show, and that's how it feels to me. But I think that was the right move. There was this people were upset when they found out it was quad 9s and that their non-true gem mints were going to now be mint plus. But to say, okay, now basically 70% of your cards are no longer going to be, gem mint. They're getting downgraded. Here's the conundrum, right? We've got the true grade, the one grade that you see on the slab. Then we've got subgrades, which now BGS is known for. And then we've got the grade descriptor. And when you start stacking all those things up with the proposal that they have with the 10, you're like literally having to read into all the different subgrades even to know what the heck the card's worth. It was like 8 grades within 3 grades, basically. So I think they need to change it. We speculated or talked a few weeks ago based on rumors that we were hearing they were grading cards more easily. We said, I think collectively, they need to have 10 be like more common as part of their grading scale. The only 2 options to me are the original quad 9.5s, and there's still going to be a ton of people upset about that. Okay, make the decision and move on. Or like you said, get rid of 9.5 entirely from subgrades and from the other grade. Either way, you're basically moving to PSA's model or you're moving to SGC's model.
Which one would you do? Which one would you do?
At this point, I probably would lean toward PSA's.
Yeah.
Because of how many cards they have graded, they're going to win more, and then they're just going to say, if you've got a 9.5, it's going to a 10.
I'm with you. I think 9.5 should probably be killed out altogether. Just make every single 9.5 a 10. Keep it more simple. And then you have 2 layers of 10s, I guess, above that with Pristine and Black Label, which stay the same as they are today. That part's a little confusing, 3 10s. I still think it's the right decision.
Yep.
One more thing to throw in before we move on. I actually think, and this may surprise you guys, I actually think, despite all the craziness that happened with Beckett this last weekend, if they make this change, whatever the change is going forward, that could be the singular biggest and best moment in Beckett's history. I think they could spin this into the biggest event to catapult their future growth, a bigger opportunity than they've ever had before. How does that work? Go listen to the Jeff Wilson Show podcast. I put out this morning a whole Jeff Wilson Show podcast breaking down my thoughts on the Beckett situation and looking at it from a business angle and why I think that Beckett has a real business opportunity ahead of him. So that Jeff Wilson Show is on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Okay, guys, Pristine auction, huge auction this weekend. Lots of amazing stuff, including a beautiful Steph Curry 2009 Topps Chrome on-card auto. And of course, those 2009 Topps Chrome cards, those are all numbered to $9.99. They're pretty rare. Doug, what do you have your eye on?
So I'm getting away from sports a little bit. There's something that really caught my eye in the graded comic book world. I dabble in that a little bit, but they've got the 6-book set of the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's kind of like the peak of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there's some pop culture importance with that set, but it was all 6 books, and they're all autographed by the artists and the writer, and they're all slabbed in CGC slabs. And I love the opportunity to grab the whole collection at once, so that's something that caught my eye.
I like that. How about you?
Luka's prices are down. We saw him on the top 5, and he was the one going down. There's a pink ice Luka PSA 9 rookie card from Prism. I used to have a PSA 10 of that I sold and made some good money on a few years ago. I wouldn't mind having a 9 in my collection.
There you go. All right, and you too can get any of these items or thousands more at pristineauction.com. When you register, use promo code SCI, and you're going to get $10 in free credit towards your first purchase. Okay, there was some big breaking news from Topps and Fanatics. We're not totally sure. This is a little murky. So NBA reporter Shams tweeted, hey, we got some fun news here. Topps is going to start making basketball cards in 2023 and 2024, which means we're right around the corner, right? The 2023 season coming up here from Topps producing cards. Well, this is confusing because Panini has the exclusive license till 2026. Topps is able to make unlicensed cards without the team logos, but they can't make, fully licensed cards until 2026. So either this tweet is a bunch of nothing, or this tweet is actually breaking some really significant news about something happening with Panini or something happening sooner. What are the different choices here, Teapot? What does this look like?
I'm just going to give a shout out to our boy Neo, who put a video out yesterday. He does a great job breaking news. He does daily content, right? And he said there's 4 scenarios. One is it's just more of the stuff like the McDonald's and the Finest that we saw from the last year. That doesn't seem like anything worth announcing. They're already doing that. The second is unlicensed product, like Panini does with baseball. That probably seems like the most probable. The third, and this is one I hadn't really considered, but he said he thinks it's a possibility, is that they're just buying the licenses from Panini, early
Yeah.
to get rolling on it, and
Yeah.
that does seem like a possibility.
Or maybe even sub-licensing.
Yeah,
I mean,
sub-licensing.
is it possible that Panini retains the license, they sub-license it to Topps and Fanatics?
Could be.
Both will
Yeah.
be in competition against each other
Yeah.
for the next few years.
That could be. That might be even a better possibility. And then the other one would be that if this long-awaited acquisition of Panini or their brands is actually happening, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I texted a few colleagues at Fanatics. I've asked them what's going on. I haven't heard anything back, which is a little unusual. And either that means that this is probably much ado about nothing, and they're kind of like, what is this tweet? What's he even talking about? Or it means that something big's happening and they didn't want it to be announced yet. So we'll see. As of the filming of this, I haven't heard back. Now, who knows? News can break quickly. Maybe by the time you're watching, there's more to the story. Check out the Sports Card Investor Instagram because we'll be providing updates there as we have them. Doug, what do you think about all this?
So my initial reaction was similar to Neo's, maybe not quite as thought out, but initially I thought unlicensed basketball, but that wouldn't be news because we've seen it with, again, we mentioned 2021 Finest, and we've seen like the McDonald's product, and we've seen things like Overtime Elite or whatever. Yep. So I don't think that's news, and I think if we were to get just an unlicensed sort of flagship Topps basketball, that's not necessarily different to me. So if that's it, that's the most disappointing option out of what's available. Also, I immediately thought maybe this is a hint at brand acquisition, right? But if Fanatics were to acquire certain brands, does that all of a sudden give them the license early? I don't know that it does. So if we find out, in the next few months, let's say that Fanatics is able to acquire Prism. I'm just throwing that out there as a hypothetical. That doesn't necessarily give them the right to then put out licensed Prism NBA next year. So the one option I hadn't thought about that you guys just both brought up is if there's some sort of partnership there where they're both able to take advantage of that license. Maybe there's a revenue share where Fanatics is kind of renting that license, but they're kicking back some of that revenue to Panini while we're going through an acquisition. There's a lot involved there, but that would probably be the one that would make me most excited if we have sort of competing products. Now that might water down that specific year or the next couple of years if we've got all the stuff that Panini's putting out. Now Topps is able to put it out. We're getting basically double the amount of basketball. That's a lot of product, and that might hurt the market for those specific years. But I am ready to see what the future looks like for Fanatics basketball.
I'm excited. Hopefully we'll get some. Explanation soon, some clarification soon. All right, we got to talk about Mint Collective. We got to talk about Fanatics' new MLB patch. But first, we got to take a quick break. Guys, download that free Sports Card Investor app in the App Store on your phone right now. It's a great way to keep tabs on what cards are trending and shop for cards as well. Teapot, let's talk Mint Collective because this is a big event that happens in the industry every spring. We obviously all just got back from it. There's going to be great video coverage of it here on the Sports Card Investor YouTube channel starting on Sunday. We got fun videos that are going to be coming out from Mint Collective recapping what it was. But as somebody who went for the first time, what were your impressions of this event?
I was happy to go this year. I didn't get a chance to go last year, and it was really great energy. It felt like a very chill event. It seems like everybody there was relaxed. I don't know if it's because it's Vegas. Obviously, it's nice to be able to stay all in one building and just go from your room to restaurants and down to the conference center. Everything was laid out really nicely. I think it was really well organized. They had a ton of staff to help you figure out where am I going and where. Some were a little rough around the edges, but at least you got to the sessions you were trying to go to. And so the sessions on Friday were awesome. I thought they were really thoughtful. There was a lot of variety of content depending on what you wanted to go hear. That was also great for networking after the fact. Some of those sessions was like, hey, come talk to me, reach out to me. All the people who were speaking were very congenial and good to talk to. And then they had awesome social mixers in the evenings. That was really the kind of climax of that chill environment. They had food, they had drinks, they had the game on Saturday night. So that was really cool. And then the show I thought was actually pretty good. Like you said before, it's not the biggest show in the world, but it was really well spread out, carpeted floor, a lot of businesses there set up. And so it was a really awesome. I was happy to for a change, be walking around. We weren't set up at this one. We were sort of interacting on the floor with everybody, and it was a really great time.
So, Doug, this was your second. For viewers out there who haven't been to Mint Collective before, help them make the decision. Is this an event they should really, is it a must attend next year, or is it something that's only right for certain types of people in the hobby?
Yeah, I sort of lean that it is maybe for certain types of people in the hobby. I would like to talk to people that went just as a card collector, a card investor, and get their point of view. But for us, it is hands down the best industry event in the hobby right now. It brings out the who's who from each of the important companies in the hobby. It's the best networking event. One of the things this year that I didn't love as much is that they kind of crammed all of the panels into one day. I would like to see maybe 2 days of panels spaced out a little bit.
It was a long day.
You would have the opportunity to attend different things.
Yeah.
For instance, my entire Friday, I met meeting with people. I had meetings set up with various people with various brands, and I missed every single panel. I didn't get to see a single thing. Had that been spaced out over a couple of days, that would have helped me actually, get more out of that. So, from a card show perspective, I don't think it's a strong card show, but again, my perspective may be skewed because I'm, bouncing around doing all these other things that are available. So I don't know that it's the best card show, but there's no better industry event. So if you just want to see what's happening within the hobby at a higher level or at a corporate level, that is the one event you have to attend.
And lots of opportunities to just hang out, network around, talk to others.
Yes.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Had great conversations with a lot of different content creators and company owners and people who worked at all the various companies in the hobby. So from that perspective, it is a must-do event.
I'll tell you one thing I was bummed about.
Yes.
The athletes. Jason Williams was supposed to be there, either missed or his flight got canceled. I thought Peyton Manning and A.J. Dillon and Mike White were going to be there. They were on a screen. So that was a little bit disappointing.
I know.
I'd love to see those guys
really
in
looking
person.
forward to playing Pop-A-Shot with Jason Williams. Maybe next year. Adam Morrison showed up.
Yeah,
I actually didn't see that till after the fact. I would have played Pop-A-Shot with Adam Morrison. That would have been pretty cool. All right, next topic, guys. Let's go to the Fanatics MLB debut patch. Guys, this is the biggest announcement in a generation. That is what Mike Mahan had teased, the president, the CEO of Fanatics. I actually think it is a big deal, but we'll talk about it.
It is.
And so they announced the news on Major League Baseball's opening day that the top rookies in Major League Baseball were wearing patches on their uniforms, these special MLB debut patches. They actually had a Topps representative at every single one of these games. And after the game ended, the Topps representative went down, they got the jersey, they removed the patch from the jersey to ensure that they had it. They also got some other stuff from the game. I don't think we can break that news yet, but there's more stuff like this coming. And then they took all of those and they're going to put those into trading cards. What do you make of this announcement, Doug?
My initial reaction was very positive to this. I heard that news, and I had also heard previously that Fanatics had a goal to make baseball RPAs as desirable as other sports, football, basketball, and I thought this was a great step in that direction. I thought it was very thoughtful, and it's something that can be executed on, and they can keep that promise. Then I, of course, get on the internet to see what the buzz is, and like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the knee-jerk reaction on the internet tends to always be negative. For whatever reason, that's just where people want to go with these types of things. And it was just really interesting to me why people were down on this as a move in general. I think it's great. But one of the comments I saw that really stuck out to me, someone said, oh, I'm sure they're going to throw this in a card and then call it, player worn or game worn or whatever the case is. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, this is great.
Sure.
Like, aren't you tired of these patches that are just not associated with any sort of player or event? We saw Jordan Walker get his first Major League at-bat was a hit, and now that patch is going to be associated to his first ever hit. That's cool. Like, people that are down on this, I don't understand why. I'm for it, but maybe you've got a counterpoint.
I think this is amazing overall. I must have blocked enough of those people on Instagram because I saw nothing but positive feedback.
Oh, okay.
And I'm in some baseball chats on IG and with other people. Universally, from the people I talked to, everybody thought this was awesome. To your point, you've got the NFL shield, you've got the logo man, you've got these products, and baseball is missing that key, like, huge chase. Now, to me, though, this is not the biggest announcement of a decade. Why is it not the biggest announcement of a decade? I think it's incredibly encouraging as a sign of the innovation that's yet to come. They're going to keep doing awesome stuff like this. But you have between 200 and 250 athletes in baseball every year who make their MLB debut. And it's not that many so far, right? So opening day was great, but there's going to be people keep making their opening. So you have 250 max cards, unless they're cutting up these patches.
They're not. They're going to be one of
put one of one.
Yeah.
So 250 cards in an industry where Fanatics' own numbers said 3 to 4 million people bought or sold a sports card last year. that can't possibly be the biggest announcement of a decade when it only impacts 250 people. And we don't know if it's going to be in a high-end product or if it's going to be obtainable in lower-end
And they don't
products.
even know yet.
They don't know
I directly
yet.
asked some of Fanatics leaders,
So,
and they said they weren't sure yet.
I love the thought process, but I was a little disappointed when they said, yes, this is the announcement.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. The reason why I actually think it is a massive announcement is because I think this is the first of what will become many
sure.
of these things. I think when they're getting the nets from the basketball game of the of the player's debut, or they're getting the whatever, the pylon from the football game, or part of their uniform or their cleats from their first game, or whatever it is. Like, I think that all of those things combined are going to transform trading cards into having these just unbelievably incredible chases in every single major product. I'm looking forward to that day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit subscribe. Please click that like button. Go download the Sports Card Investor app in the App Store. If you have it on your phone, open it up. See what is trending today. And we'll see you Sunday night for our first video recap of the Mint Collective. Take care.